As an 8-year-old, if at school you were asked to draw your future car, it would probably look a lot like this. Low, sleek, exaggerated panels, space thrusters and laser beams, and a shape not too dissimilar from a rocket on wheels. There's one car manufacturer who have 8-year-olds working on their design team, Lamborghini. At a time when everyone around them were focused on reliability, practicality, fuel efficiency, legroom and boot space, these guys were only concerned about aesthetics and speed. So you might ask, is this an exaggerated myth? This is the Lamborghini Miura. At the 1966 Geneva Motor Show, curiously, none of the engineers had found the time to check if the engine properly fit inside its compartment. Committed to showing the car, they decided to fill the engine bay with artificial blocks and keep the hood locked throughout the show, as they had done 3 years earlier for the debut of the 350 GT. This level of insanity doesn't stop there. It took 2 years for them to realise the boot space was inadequate for a car of its value. It also took them the same amount of time to realise the windows didn't work properly, as they introduced a power assisted feature on the revised model, which still didn't work. But the great news is that the car did have a windscreen wiper. It's just that it took them 2 years to realise there was no actual switch to enable the use of it. This mind-boggling lunacy was even extended to the owner's manual, which indicated the car to have a bigger intake valve than it actually had. And this was no accident, as they repeated the same stunt on the Espada and the Countach. You see, it doesn't matter if your top speed is 171, because in their minds, if Lambo say the car can do 600 miles per hour, then it will do 600 miles per hour. I can't help but wonder if they live on their own planet. But this is why we love Lamborghini. Because in spite of this stupid, ridiculous, impractical and zero-based logic, what they produce can only be described as absolutely jaw-droppingly gorgeous, not to mention insanely fast. However, the company has not gone without its troubles, and these days are owned by Volkswagen of Germany, who, as I'm sure you are aware, build cars upon the exact philosophy that the Italians deem unimportant: longevity, sensibility, and logic. This is an example of one of their productions. It's the Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. The spoiler actively improves aero efficiency rather than improving your restaurant to bedroom ratio of women you take on the first date. The large intakes are actually designed for cooling purposes rather than style, meaning the car will actually hit its publicised performance levels unlike previously. Even the type of paint used was chosen for the purposes of weight saving rather than flamboyance and style. All of this is very worrying. It's almost like a dog with a muzzle. It seems to have lost its bite, or even worse, maybe its soul. On the surface, it looks like a Lamborghini, but what I'm going to do today is find out whether or not it feels like one. I just want to find out the answer to a question. Is the lunatic still alive? Right then, first up the Miura. And what we're dealing with here is a 0 to 60 time of 6.7 seconds and a top speed of 171. But due to the lightness, it feels so much faster. Right, building up speed now, wide on the entry. Approaching the first corner here. Look at those fat Pirelli tyres handling all the power that's being sent to the rear wheels. This thing really is a raging bull. Second gear on the exit, advancing under the bridge. Shifting back up to third, looking for the best grip available. Now, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, I take great pleasure in disappointing you, because this is an uncompromising, full-on bacon and eggs eating 4-litre V12 engine with 8 types of Italian cheese sprinkled on top for good measure. Accelerating over the crest, the car remains surprisingly planted as we make our way down to the corkscrew. Heavy on the brakes, turn in, oh! Oh, we very nearly flew back to the future there. It may be an old classic, but the lunatic just showed us there that if you take one liberty, it will kill you. Moving to the right as we approach the final corner, and a big drift on exit. Wonderful. Straighten up, sprinting down to the start finish line, using all of the torque available, and across the line in 1 minute 6.046. 1 minute 6.046. So the gauntlet has been laid down. Gallardo Superleggera, over to you. Right, here we go. Italian stylism meets German engineering. Now, the boffins at Volkswagen have developed an ingenious limited slip differential for the Gallardo, which improves grip and in turn means better cornering. And as you can see, the results are monumental. Third gear, approaching the second corner, no loss of power whatsoever. Excellent power delivery on exit. And it should come as no surprise because this orange baboon has been ambushed by the carbon fibre committee. It's 100 kilograms lighter than the original Gallardo. Four-wheel drive system kicking in there as we power slide our way around that bend and onto the straight. Now compared to the Miura, the Gallardo does have 2 less cylinders, punching in with a V10, but to back it up, it ups the ante with a 5.2 litre engine compared to the Miura's 4. And just like its older cousin, the Lunacy spills over as it hurls us through the corkscrew. You've got to hand it to Volkswagen and Lamborghini for coming together and building a car that embodies the true spirit of what a Lamborghini should be all about. But what we really want to know is it as quick? Can it keep up with the Miura? Is it as fast? I'm keeping an eye on the clock and it looks awfully close. 1 minute 6.238. 1 minute 6.238. Almost exactly the same time. There was only 2 tenths in it. That is quick enough for me. That is close enough. Unbelievable performance. You couldn't have made it up. When I buy a mobile phone, say an iPhone or maybe a Samsung Galaxy, the vanity and stylism within me wants to wave it all around and appreciate just how good it looks aesthetically. But the common sense side of me knows that within a week the screen would have probably cracked due to me attempting to eat a bucket of KFC whilst reading a text message and walking up the stairs. For that reason, sense and sensibility forces me to put a case on, a cover, maybe even a screen protector, all of which is more practical but less flamboyant. Going into this head-to-head, I was afraid that this would have been the same shift in mindset when VW took control of this legendary brand. I mentioned earlier on that the Lamborghini vision incorporated style and speed over anything else. The Lamborghinis of today look just as ridiculous, and surprisingly, despite all of the drab efficiency and boring common sense, remain equally as fast. And for that reason, I can confidently, happily, and sincerely say, the legend of the lunatic lives on.